to Smash Writing. This is Wesker, and today we're talking about Predator 2. Oh yes, we are continuing down the Predator franchise. And Predator 2 does not get the love I think it should. It's underrated. It tends to get dissed on a lot by people who say it's not as good as the first one. My argument has always been, doesn't have to be. The first Predator movie is a perfect movie. But just because you can't reach the levels of a perfect movie doesn't mean it can't be enjoyed. With that said, let's dive in and talk about it some more. Let's give it some details. Why I think the way that I do. Shall we? Okay then. The movie jumpstarts with a bit of a view from the Predator's vision, going from the jungle to we show up in Los Angeles in the middle of a firefight between a local gang and the cops. There are two cops who are pinned down and the other cops just can't get to them. And we meet Danny and Leona, and then Hartigan arrives. And he's the one who busts through the line, using his car as a kind of a battering ram, not really a battering ram, but as a shield. He has two bulletproof vests in the windows to help him get in there. And then he manages to punch through the line and punch out the two people who were left outside of the apartment, because the rest of the gang have fled upstairs. They are rearming and getting high, preparing for round two, when the Predator jumps in on them. And local cops rush up there when they hear screams, ignoring the orders that are coming their way. And they find a massacre, except for one guy left. He has fled to the roof. Hartigan chases him up there, and the guy sees the whoosh from the Predator, and he freaks out and falls off the roof. Or Hartigan shoots him off. One or the other. I think Hartigan shoots him off the roof, because Hartigan sees him raise his guns, and he shoots him off the roof. My bad. We see here, though, Hartigan briefly sees the glimmer from the Predator, but he doesn't see him. But what we do see is Hartigan is afraid of heights and kind of needs help down. And they are surveying the damages downstairs, because all the bodies are way up high in the ceiling, stripped and everything, and they have no idea what in the hell happens. And that's when Hartigan is called. They're all called out by their superior, the captain, who's pissed because he ordered them not to go in. And while Hartigan is arguing this, we see feds arriving through a helicopter and rushing inside. And back at the station, Hartigan is being told, from here out, the feds are in control of all this, and he is to help and aid them in whatever way they ask. He's not happy about this. Does not like his turf being invaded. And he goes through that, and we meet up with Danny and Leona and their newest recruit, Jerry Lambert. I believe they call him like the Lone Ranger or some shit. He's a new transfer, and he was specifically requested this beat, which Mike doesn't like, because as he tells Jerry, there are no room here for cowboys. We work as a team, and we get things done together. He does it that way, they'll be the best of friends. Meanwhile, that night, the Predator's striking again. This time it's the other gang. And we're seeing a whole new set of toys come up for the Predator this time. Mike and them, again, ignore being told to stay out, and they go up. And they find that the woman who was in the apartment with the guy, because what was happening is the other gang attacked one of the other gang members, and they were going to sacrifice him for King Willie. They had the woman held down as a captive, kind of hostage kind of deal, and that's when the Predator struck. And the only one who's not flayed is the guy they killed, because he's not the Predator's trophy. But there's a survivor. The woman is still alive, in deep shock, but alive, because she wasn't armed. And they notice a chunk of metal up in the heating duct. But before they can go up, Keyes' men show up. And Keyes flat out tells him, stay out of my way, or you're going to find yourself disappeared. And he is especially not liking the threat. And he has Jerry start tailing them to try to find out what's going on. He does the best he can, but he loses them around a meat warehouse, and it kind of pisses him off. But Mike tells Jerry just stay on him for a couple days. We're just trying to figure out what they know and aren't telling us. Meanwhile, Danny did not wait for Mike to come back and went in by himself after everyone left, which is a bad move because the Predator was waiting for him. And Mike finds his body and the chunk of metal that they were looking at still clutched in his hands. He managed to snake that from the body, and it turns out to be good because he's being put on leave, suspended for ignoring direct orders. And it's his turn now to threaten Keyes that he's coming for him. And we see the Hartigan, Jerry, and Leona come together. They're going to keep working this case no matter what. Hartigan requests specifically he wants a meeting with Big Willie now, one of the leaders of the gang. Because now that there's death on both sides, maybe Big Willie can tell him something that they don't know. And that night he gets his wish. He gets a meeting with Big Willie. And Big Willie pretty much tells him it's from the other side. And he goes off, wishes him the best of luck. And when Hartigan is being driven out of the alley, the Predator is touching down in the alley. And him and Willie get into it. Not really, though. Willie's no threat here. But we do see the Predator preparing Willie's skull. Because Willie fought with honor. He tried to fight him, at least. And we see a brief little glimpse of what looks like a trophy case. Next day, they're talking to the coroner about the piece of metal that was in Danny's hand. And that it fits nothing on the periodic table. But it had to have been near a meat warehouse because they found residue of cattle blood on it. I think some of the cattle on the blade. Which is where they last saw Keyes. So he tells Jerry and Leona that he's going to meet up with them. And he goes off to visit Danny's grave. And the Predator is there too. And he almost shoots a kid who raises a plastic gun at him until he realizes this kid has no threat to him. And he's just there to taunt Hartigan with Danny's necklace. And meanwhile, back with Jerry and Leona, they're riding the subway. And this one group tries to mug the one guy. He pulls a gun. They pull a gun. Everyone else on the subway pulls guns. It's looking pretty bad there. Then the Predator shows up, and a whole bunch of people are armed, and a whole bunch of people are going to die. Jerry is doing his best to fight his way through this. Leona is trying to get everyone to safety in a farther up car. Jerry's fighting off this unseeable thing. This unseeable thing is just like, want some candy? Because that's what the kid told him back at the cemetery, he wants some candy. But by the time the subway car gets stopped and Leona comes back, Jerry's gone. The Predator grabs her and unshifts for a brief moment. And we see through his eyes. And she is pregnant. So when Mike shows up, she is still alive. But she's unconscious or injured. And that's when he learns she's pregnant too. Because Predator's not going to harm a pregnant woman. There was a great story in one of the audiobooks. I can't remember which one it is. Where there was a predator and he came across a pregnant woman and he explained that they don't hunt pregnant women because it would rob the universe of a warrior. A potential future warrior. Then he used her for bait because he can't kill them. That doesn't mean if she dies some other way it matters. And I just found that so funny. It made me think about that story when I was watching this. But he's chasing something down in the alley. Or not the alley, the subway tunnel, and sees Jerry's head getting ripped out of his body. And he starts chasing after the Predator. They take it up to the streets and he's chasing them down, and you see the Predator running along the rooftops. Whenever his car is spiked with a van and dragged into this trailer by Keyes' men. And this is where we learn about Keyes. Keyes and his men have been looking for Predator since the first movie. They were told about the Predator from Dutch, and they've been hunting them ever since. Trying to get a hold of their technology, you see. We have a Weyland-Yutani situation on our hands here. But they know he comes back to the meat warehouse every few days to eat. And now they have a trap set up for him. They are wearing heat, no, the giant suits to keep their heat bottled in. They're spraying everything with this fluorescent spray. It'll cling to him to make him visible, and he won't be able to see them. And sure enough, the Predator has arrived. And their plan is to spray him with Cairo guns and freeze him, and keep him alive and preserved for transportation. The problem is, Predator senses there's something off, so he starts flipping through his filters. And while he can't see them, one of them shows their flashlights. So he's able to get a jump on them that way. Hardigan has to fight his way out of the trailer before he loads up and rushes in when Keyes is the last one alive. And he starts fighting with the Predator. And it looks like Keyes is dead, but he's not quite yet. But we get Mike fighting with Predator a bit, and he actually manages to knock him out with some shotgun blasts. He takes the helmet off, about to call him an ugly motherfucker, when the Predator grabs him and says motherfucker himself, and starts beating his ass, and that's when Keyes interferes, and the Predator finally finishes him off with the spinning blade, and chases Mike up onto the roof. They both, let's call him Danny, Hardigan tackles him off, surprise tackles him off of it. And they're both, Predator's grabbed his arm to hold on, and he's stuck there with the dead weight. And says something, his great, it's like, your move. I'm not going to finish that. I just remembered what that other line was. But this is when the Predator engages his bomb. Hardigan, though, senses there's something not right here, and uses the spinning disc to cut off the bracelet, destroying that, and cutting off the Predator's arm in one go. And Predator crashes into an opposing apartment. He's doing first aid on himself while Mike is slowly climbing down the side of a building, which is terrifying for him because he's afraid of heights again, which is a nice little payoff. The Predator, he's all healed. He's running through the apartments. Mike has gotten over there. He's chasing after him, and Hardigan has to climb down this escalator hole, and they wind up in the Predator ship. And we get a great look of the trophy case, and there are all kind of different trophies in there. There's a King Willie's head, there's a T-Rex head, there's a Xenomorph head. Lovely. And then he just manages to deflect an attack from the Predator. They go at it again. Mike feigns his injury a bit to lure the Predator in, and he cuts open his stomach and takes him down. But he spares him that final, overkill blow. And he stands up and is immediately surrounded by more Predators, who collect his body and haul him off, and they reward him with a old school Colt pistol. And then he realizes, oh shit, they're leaving. And he runs off and just barely gets off the ship. One of Keyes' men takes a shot at him for costing him everything because they had a chance. And he's like, don't worry, you're going to have another chance. And the movie ends. I thought this was a great little follow-up to Predator. We take the location to a city. I really love that city backdrop with the Predator running around in the city. I love all of the upgrades they gave him. The net gun where they traps him in the net and then spins in there, and you just see him getting sliced and killed by the netting. I believe this is where they introduced, they definitely introduced the spinning disc here. I think this is where we first get to look at the combi stick. That's my favorite addition, was the combi stick. They get Kevin Peter Hall. Yes, Kevin Peter Hall. Rest in peace, Kevin Peter Hall. This is our final opportunity to see him play the Predator. And he did so well. The makeup on him was great. It felt similar to what we got, but it felt like it was added on. Like everything else in this movie, it's additional, it's added on flavor. He understood the role better, so he was able to do other things to make this Predator feel different. The city hunter feel different to the jungle hunter, but at the same time feel familiar enough to go, no, this is the Predator, yes. That's such a shame we didn't get to see him play this character again. Rest in peace, Kevin Peter Hall. Uh, Danny Glover was a lot of fun in this movie. I enjoyed him having that rough, gruff cop this time, as opposed to a soldier boy. The other players in this who were Ruben Blades, who played Danny Archuleta, and Maria Conchetta Alonso, who played Leona. All of them were great. That little trifecta of them worked so well together. And Jerry, played by, rest in peace, Bill Paxton. He felt like a newcomer who was being accepted to the group. And he was that little comedic dish, that little, it's my specialty of everything. He knew everything, and he fit right in like a glove. Like I said, everything about this movie felt like a really solid carry on from what we got. In addition to what we got, and as not as big, not as explosive, still fun ride with the Predator movies. I still don't have any cons to talk about with this movie. I'm not going to give it an S tier though, because I don't think it was as good, but still great. A tier movie. And that's my final grade. That's Predator 2. I hope you enjoy. Have a good day, evening, night, afternoon, whatever, wherever you are. As always, bye bye.